on this whole path of finding myself through art. And so on the same parallel, I was still trying to tell Luke's story, like through, I used to do creative writing. My buddy Brett he was in a band, come to Nashville, write songs. He taught me my first chords on guitar because I thought, what if I had a song I can give to you and walk away? So now I don't cry. Luke lived. Super win-win for both of us, right? So I went down this path of doing parodies, like rewriting songs as parodies and teaching myself songwriting. And Brett would be coming to Nashville. So I was like, I need to make a trip to Nashville.
And who was Brett again?
Brett Gillen. He's now my program director, but he was the lead singer of a band, one of my first friends at this bar I worked at when I came home from war. And he's the one that taught me songwriting was a job, pretty much, because he was doing it for his band full time.
Okay.
And so he gave me this insight to songwriting. Secretly, he didn't know I was trying to translate my story. He didn't know how much I was hurting on the inside. And so I just kept asking him, songwriting, what's that like? Like, you do that with other people? You do this? So now I'm in Chicago going to school, and there's a writer's round at this bar in Chicago that I worked at called Joe's Bar. And it was like 4 huge, massive hit writers. And I went up to the first one after the session, after it was over, and I was like, hey, have you ever written with a veteran or for a veteran? The first one's like, no. I went to the next person. They said no. I went to the third person. His name's Mark Irwin. He wrote Alan Jackson's like first #1 hit and a bunch since then for Taylor Swift, Tim McGraw, all these people. And I was like,
he wrote songs for them?
Yeah. So #1 songs like Highway Don't Care for Tim McGraw, Taylor Swift.
Wow.
He wrote, I think, Redneck Crazy, My Like Tyler Farr. It was either Sangria or Neon Lights for Blake Shelton. So he has multiple #1s. And so I went up to him. I said, hey, after I asked him that question, he's like, oh, yeah, actually, I wrote a song with Billy Ray Cyrus about this Army staff sergeant coming home from war. I was like, hey, I have so much going on inside of me. I'm trying to write a song about my buddy who died, but I can't put him on the pedestal he needs to be. If I come to you in Nashville, you help me tell that story? He's like, yeah, come on down. And so a month later, I'm driving down to Nashville, and I sit in a room with Mark Irwin, and I tell him my story. In an hour and a half, we have a song. And I'm sitting here like, I tried for a year to write a song, and it wasn't working. And in an hour and a half, we wrote a song.
What year was this when you came down?
This had to be 2010, 2011, I think.
Okay.
And so I was just blown away that they could do what they did. And so I want to bring every veteran I know to Nashville to tell their story. So as I'm thinking about this, my buddy Jesse, who's missing his leg from an IED blast and burns over 60% of his body, salty or human, doesn't talk about a story, but I've known him since childhood. He also went in the Marine Corps. He was with Charlie Company. He was a reserve unit. They got hit really bad. And so
Charlie Company with a reserve
it was like
unit?
Peoria, Illinois, Charlie Company.
Did he get hit when he was in an AAV?
Possibly. Actually, yeah, I think it was.